Hey guys, welcome to this is weird. Welcome back to another episode of the Kier and Noémie vlog. This episode is going to be a little bit different. I know we've done a couple of like day in the life episodes, and then of course we have our sit down talks, but today I wanted to do a pregnancy update. So I actually posed this question a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, and I mean, I really haven't documented this pregnancy as much as I intended to in the beginning. To be honest, the first trimester was really tough emotionally, but also like physically. I've been super nauseous, or I was super nauseous. Definitely feeling so much better now. And then last week we actually had like a scare. So the pregnancy is officially high risk, and it just kind of took me a while emotionally to, I'm not gonna say it took me a while. I think I just had to process it, and the way that I process is pretty private. I like to kind of go through my emotions independently because I'm very sensitive to everybody else's energy around me. And one thing that I've noticed is whenever I get like traumatic information or traumatic news, my initial reaction isn't to stress out, but people around me's initial reactions are to stress out, and that just really puts me in a weird space. So I just need time to process the news so that when I do share it with friends, family, even you guys, I'm in a good enough space to where I can talk about it. That's just how I deal with things. I've recognized that about myself. And I will say, however way you process emotions, as long as it's good for you, it's good, period. But I say that because it has taken me a while to be okay with the fact that, you know, I process things this way. But I feel so much better. We have been meeting with specialists just to check on the baby and to make sure that she's okay. And as of now, I can confidently say that she's good. They're not stressed, so I'm not stressed. And the last thing that I want to do is stress myself or my body out as we continue on with this pregnancy. One of the things that they have recommended, just to kind of put you guys in the loop, is that the baby is growth restricted. So there are issues with my placenta and her getting the nutrients that she wants or that she needs. And then also with me having polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is PCOS for those of you who might know. We're having issues with like when my actual due date is. So one of the recommendations is to just push it back, and we're gonna be monitoring her size more often, which, you know, I'm really not mad at, because that means more ultrasounds. That means, you know, just more regular updates on how she's doing. And honestly, as long as she's healthy, that's the most important thing to me. But anyway, I don't want to go down into a hole and then, you know, and just be negative or be worried, because honestly guys, Kier and I are in such a better place. Our appointment was this week. It was a couple of days ago. So like I said, I just needed some time to process everything that's happening, but I'm in a much better space. I'm optimistic and I'm just excited. I feel good. I feel supported. I feel empowered. All the good things. But anyway, before we get into this pregnancy update, I just realized I never uploaded footage from our vacation that we took a couple of weeks ago. So me, Kier, and Emery went to South Carolina to visit my cousin, who's like my big sister, and we invited a couple of my other cousins and their kids, who are like overwhelmingly little girls. These are the group of cousins that I actually grew up with. Some of us, we lived in the same house for most of my life, but right now we live kind of all over the country, so we don't really have an opportunity to get our kids together. So one thing that we've tried I'm not gonna say that we've actually been successful in doing, is meeting up every August, September in South Carolina, because it's just a great middle point for us. So the way that this year was different is that we invited our moms. This group of cousins are all my mom's brothers and sisters. Not all of them, some of them. But we invited the grandmas to come, which ended up being so much fun. I didn't get a ton of footage, but I'm gonna drop some of the footage with the kids getting together. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw the whole like big reveal when the grandmas came. But it was a good time. It was a good time to get away. It was a good time to see family, because a lot of those people I haven't seen since we got married in 2019. Because right after that, that's when like COVID hit and we were all kind of like on lockdown. But I'm gonna drop the footage here. It's so cute. Just look at these babies.
Hi people. So it's tonight in the morning, but we're going to South Carolina Do you want to come with us?
Tell them that we're going on vacation.
Let's go to vacation. And we are going to my cousin Ari's house. She has a new house. And Juju. She's from my pool. I mean, not my kiddie pool. Just Paige. Faith is going to be there. And Grandma. Are you going to eat some cereal? As a family?
Just me and you. Daddy already ate breakfast. Come here.
Things are wild. What's going on?
Hi, birthday girl. Hi, baby. You want to tell everybody that it's your birthday? Say it's my birthday. And how old are you? 4.
Hey, people.
Bryson like, nah. So Noémie and I play this ridiculous game all the time. Well, she be like, baby, hurry up, come and feel the baby is moving. And by the time I get here,
She's not moving no more.
Jump in, hurry up. It was like 2 seconds. I put my hand right there. Baby don't be moving. She just be trying to make me work out and run for no reason.
Okay, all right, cool.
Man, I've been waiting. So, you know, that's my favorite joint. You know what I'm gonna say, right? So I'm not gonna put her on, but my cousin Juju right here. There's an episode of the vlog. You don't like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You don't like that?
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Cut the cake. Cut the cake.
Basically, in that episode, Boo Boo's trying to cut her birthday cake. And that. Did you just push me, bro?
Yeah, you did. No pressure. No.
Huh? Huh? That's what we're doing? That's what we're doing? We supposed to sucker, I don't even remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Emery was trying to cut her birthday cake and Juju was really excited. She screamed, cut the cake! Booby, you gotta eat the cake.
So we got Minnie Mouse. I don't know what Paige is.
She is a ballerina.
And a cheerleader. Oh my goodness. Go model for grandmas. Go ahead. Grandma. Grandmas. Grandma. 3, go. 1, 2, 3,
The kids have been putting toilet tissue and Q-tips and God knows what into the toilet. And this brave man is the one that pulled all of that dookie out of the toilet. I saw it, y'all. It looked like he raised the demon from the depths of hell. There was a lot of stuff in there. All that boo-boo. It was so much boo-boo. So hold on.
Excuse me, sir.
What do you want, child?
Where are you going?
I'm minding my beeswax. I just want to see how bad it is in here. It ain't that bad. The children in here wall to wall. You can't escape them.
This is the boys' room, not the men's.
They keep talking to me. I don't know why. So all of the children have on costumes. It's cute and ridiculous. Look.
100% false. Yeah.
This is one. Like they're walking. This is running around like this. y'all girl.
Okay, so now that I've uploaded that footage, disclaimer, my nieces would be beefing with me if they didn't get to see themselves on YouTube, especially you, Ari and Juju. You're up here, you can show your friends, fine, whatever. No, those are my babies. But going back to the pregnancy update, so one of the most popular questions I get is, how is this pregnancy different from my pregnancy with Emery? So the thing that I always like to say is, like, you know, that pregnant person or that mom that's like, oh my god, like, I love being pregnant, it's like a dream, I had no symptoms and I just felt like I was on a cloud the whole time. That was me. I was that annoying ass pregnant lady slash mom. Like the pregnancy with E, we had like a couple of issues in like the very beginning. She actually had like a sizing issue as well, which in hindsight now probably makes sense, because I found out if you've had a small baby before, I think there's like a 20 or 30% chance that you'll have another like smaller baby. But she had a size issue in the beginning. But as far as the pregnancy, like, I wasn't really nauseous, I didn't gain much weight. It was really peaceful, aside from the fact that I was like 9 months pregnant in August and it was just hot. I had a really easy pregnancy with her. With Sydney, like from the week after I found out, I was sick. I was nauseous, I felt heavy, my joints hurt, my body hurt. Like even now, I think I've gained like 12 pounds already. I don't even think I gained 12 pounds in the entire pregnancy with Emery. So the weight gain is up there. The cravings are strong. I am hangry, I am moody. Like, I just feel like I was punished for being that annoying ass pregnant person the first time around, and all of those like yucky symptoms I have this time. So as far as symptoms, that's the biggest difference. However, I am definitely like less stressed this time around with Sydney. If you guys have been following like our sit down talks and just our vlog, or even like our Instagram for a while, you know, we've never hidden this, but Emery was completely unexpected. Kier and I were barely together a year when we found out that we were pregnant with Emery. We weren't in a good space, to be completely honest. And I don't know that we knew back then that we would even stay together. It was just a really rocky point in time in our relationship. It was a rocky time for us financially. We weren't making much money. I had just graduated law school a few months prior, and Kier had just started his master's program to be a therapist. So like, time was off, money wasn't looking right, relationship wasn't looking right. The circumstances were just not, I won't even say they weren't ideal, they weren't good. They weren't good, and we really struggled individually and in our relationship during that time. So knowing that we were gonna bring a baby into this world was like tough. That was also around the time that we just started to go to counseling, individually and couples counseling. This was way before we even thought about getting engaged, y'all. So it just happened super unexpectedly. With this pregnancy, it was completely planned. We woke up one day and we were like, let's do it, F it. Like, let's have a baby. And 2 months later, I was pregnant. So it literally happened super quick. Financially, we're in a much better place. We're married now. Our relationship is, you know, the most solid it's ever been. So the conditions surrounding, you know, this pregnancy are completely different. I think we're a lot more prepared, not only because our relationship is better, but because this is our second child. So, you know, we have Emery to compare it to. But yeah, like, it's the circumstances between the two pregnancies are as different as they can be, aside from the fact that they're both girls. I would say that's the biggest, those are the two like biggest differences between the two pregnancies. That was a great question, and I seriously get that question all the time. Another question that I get all the time is, what did you do to get pregnant with Sydney with PCOS? So let's backtrack to when I got pregnant with Emery. Even though she was unplanned, now thinking about it, the circumstances surrounding how I got pregnant made sense. So as I mentioned before, and I've mentioned many times, I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, also known as PCOS. The symptoms are really across the board. It's basically just a hormonal imbalance in your body. Some of the symptoms can be ovarian cysts, which I've had. They can also be just gaining a lot of weight because of that hormonal imbalance. I haven't had much of that. Hair growth, so a lot of people with PCOS have like tons of facial hair, body hair. I actually do have a little bit of that. I get waxed. often, so that's just how I deal with it. And there are like medications that you can take. So I found out I had polycystic ovarian syndrome in early 2016. I had multiple hospital visits, and I would get like really bad like pain, what I thought was in my stomach. I had tests for like appendicitis, like all of these digestive issues, and they couldn't find out what was going on. And then I ended up seeing I ended up going in for like a pap smear, you know, like your gyno appointment, and I mentioned the pain, and my doctor suggested that I get an ultrasound to look at my ovaries. And then at that appointment, once I had the ultrasound, they found like 13 cysts in one and like 12 in the other. Just a disclaimer, like ovarian cysts are common, but it's just the size of my cysts that were an issue, and the pain was coming from them rupturing. In addition to those ovarian cysts, I wasn't getting a period. I might have gotten 3 or 4 periods a year, which is pretty common with women with PCOS, which is why they say it may lead to infertility because you're not ovulating. But anyway, the doctor put me on metformin, I believe it was called, and it was, at least from my understanding, it was a medication that people with diabetes took, because studies had found that for some reason, I don't know the science behind it, but it's helped women with PCOS, especially with ovulation. So I started taking metformin, I think in April or May, and then I took it until October. Yeah, I took it until October or November. The symptoms were crazy. Like, it really messes with your stomach. Like, you end up having like a lot of nasty digestive issues. I won't get into it, but you can Google and find out. I was on birth control. I was on the NuvaRing at the time, and I guess I wasn't on top of it. I'll just be honest, I wasn't on top of it. But Kier and I had never had a pregnancy scare, so I wasn't worried. But I was also not on medication that made me ovulate. So I want to say it probably was like one of my first or second periods where I ovulated, and I wasn't on top of taking my birth control, and then we got pregnant. With Sydney, I actually have no idea why it happened so quickly. I have like a couple assumptions though. So I know when I first got diagnosed with PCOS, one of the things that they suggested was dietary changes. Fall 2020, I completely changed my diet. Not because I wanted to get pregnant, but I had just gained a lot of weight during COVID. So I limited alcohol, like I barely drank. We were eating healthy, cooking, you know, a lot of our own food. And if we did eat out, just healthy eating, clean eating as much as we could. I ended up losing a lot of weight, and I actually got a Peloton, and I started working out, and I'm not the type to work out ever. And I think that, you know, just me being healthier might have had something to do with it. I'm no scientist, I'm no doctor, but like I said, in hindsight, these things make sense. But what I will say is that if you do have polycystic ovarian syndrome and you're wondering what you can do to just kind of like improve your health, whether it's medication or more like holistic things, definitely talk to a doctor that you trust. There's so much more information about PCOS now than maybe like 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. So I would definitely say, like, you know, reach out to the doctor that you trust. There are tons of PCOS like communities, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, with resources. Definitely look it up. And before you take any medication or do anything drastic, I would definitely say talk to a medical professional. Another question that I get a lot is, what is your birth plan? So I'll be honest, like with I didn't know what a birth plan is, but I'm pretty much like a go with the flow kind of person. I am super organized, but when it comes to things that I know I can't control, like when she's coming, you know, what labor is gonna be like, where I'm gonna be when I go into labor, like listen, I don't want to stress about it. Like I said, Emory was a pretty easy pregnancy. I actually found out I was in labor at my 37-week appointment. So like I was already there getting checked, and the doctor was like, yeah, you might be in labor right now. Let's hook you up to some machines. And I got hooked up to machines for like an hour and a half, and they were like, yeah, you're in active labor, walk across the street to the hospital. No, it wasn't even across the street, walk across the hall to the hospital. So, you know, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I did get an epidural. I didn't go in with strong feelings about getting it or not getting it. I just figured if I got to a place where I was in enough pain where I wanted to take it, or if I was uncomfortable enough that I wanted to take it, I would. And around like 7, 8 o'clock, I was like, yeah, it's time to get this epidural. I'm not opposed to doing it now, but I do recognize with Sydney that, you know, I might have to have a C-section. That's something that I didn't even consider with E, but you know, of course I'm afraid of getting a C-section, not because I truly believe anything horrible will happen, but I know that things can happen, and that's enough for me to be a little bit concerned. So I'm just kind of prepping myself so that I'm not walking in that situation blind and expecting it to go as smoothly as it did with E, because I know that's not normal. So my birth plan this time around is no different from then. It's to just go in with an open mind, listen to my body, listen to my doctors, and I'm just gonna do what feels right in that moment. I am choosing to have this baby at a hospital. I'm not doing a home birth. Nothing against it, but I don't know. I think especially now with it being high risk, I just really want, I love my doctor. Like, in my head we're friends. I don't know if she feels the same way. It might be a one-sided relationship, but I just really trust her. I've known her for quite some time. Like, she was my doctor when I was pregnant with Emery. She was the doctor that actually recommended that I get additional testing, and that's how I found out I had PCOS. So she's just someone that I feel like listens to me, understands me, knows me, and knows my family, and I feel safe with her. And it's just really important, even if she can't be there to deliver my child, like I just will feel a lot more comfortable knowing that she's close. But outside of that, I'm just gonna go with the flow and hope for the best. So this is kind of related to one of the questions that I answered earlier, but it says, how do you feel the second time around with the changes your physical body is going through? I'm struggling. I am struggling with that. I want to say a little bit, but it's a lot of it. And the biggest thing that I'm struggling with is the weight gain. Like today, this is the most I've ever weighed in my entire life. You know, looking at the mirror, I don't really see it, but I see the scale. And if you're pregnant, you know, you got to hop on that scale like every time you go to an appointment. And it's just like, I don't know, like, to be honest, just the number is concerning to me, because it's just like, I know it's a me thing, but I don't know, I've really been struggling with the way that my body has changed completely since I became a mother. You know, like when I was younger, I was a pretty petite girl, and you know, now, like, I'll be honest, the boobs are huge, the butt's getting bigger, the thighs are getting bigger, the hips are spreading, and you know, I love my body. It just looks very different. And I've always been somebody that like struggled with shopping, and you know, therapy kind of taught me that like that's an issue that I have. Like, I avoid shopping because, you know, I have a problem with the size, like the number, and it's just hard for me to connect the fact that, like, you know, I'm bigger. And it's nothing wrong with the weight gain, because like I do love the way that my body looks. It's just I have to dress my body differently in order for me to feel comfortable. So I know that's like a me thing that I'm dealing with, but I have not let that stop me from eating what I need to eat and listening to my body. It's just something that I know that I hide from people, and I'm trying to do better, especially talking about the pregnancy and how that affects me, because I know it's so common, and I know that it happens to a lot of us. And I'm practicing being honest with myself by being honest with you guys. So yeah, that is definitely the biggest struggle that I'm dealing with right now. Is Kier a better support to you with this pregnancy? Absolutely. Absolutely. I just like, he's so amazing. If we didn't have this scare and I wanted another baby, like, I would want to have all the babies that I could with him. He's just an amazing partner, an amazing father. Like, this year has just been a huge year for us, like in our relationship. It's just, and I mentioned this before, like, we're solid. Like, I feel solid. I feel so loved and supported by him. Like, I feel, I don't want to say lucky, because he's lucky too. I'm a catch, but I feel lucky. I feel lucky that, you know, I'm with someone that is committed to me and how I grow and how I change and how I adjust, and how I kind of manage this journey to finding myself. Like, He doesn't make me feel guilty for any things that I do differently or things that I'm passionate about now that I might not have been before. I don't know, like I'm not gonna say like we're on the same wavelength, because sometimes we are and sometimes we're not. I just feel like I have room to grow and stretch without being judged. And I never knew this, but this is something that's like really important to me in a relationship. And I never knew I needed that until I got it, because I didn't know, I couldn't distinguish what it was until now. To be honest, yeah, like I think we're both much better partners to each other. This pregnancy, even though it's happening to my body, it's happening to both of us. And that's something that we talk about often, is like, I don't want to not acknowledge his experience and his emotions as he's navigating, you know, being a father, like a new father again, and the responsibilities of going from taking care of himself to taking care of himself and me, to taking care of himself, me, and E, and now Sydney is added to the equation. So like I know that's tough from a father's perspective, from a man's perspective, and then from Kier's personalized individual perspective. I just know, listen, I know my man, and I know that man is stressed, but he wears it well. You know, he takes care of himself. We give him the space for him to take care of himself, and in turn he's there to take care of us. So he's just awesome, y'all. He's amazing, and I love him, and I'm so glad that we're on this journey together, man. I can't wait to see what life's gonna look like a year from now. I think it's gonna be dope. Are you having a baby shower? So a couple of months ago, I was like, I'm gonna have the baby shower of my dreams. Outside is open, we gonna do it big. And then I changed my mind, because COVID is real, and I don't want no parts if I can avoid it. So what we've decided to do is to do a drive-by baby shower. I've been to one before, but I've heard about a couple. I didn't want to do a virtual one, but we might do like a live. It won't be like, we'll dedicate a day. We'll drop the baby registry. Actually, I'll drop it here in the description box below. And if you follow Kier and I on Instagram, it's already in our links in the bio. But just to, yeah, I think, so we're gonna do a drive-by for like friends and family, and I think we'll do a live baby shower, probably on Instagram. So if you don't already follow us, it's Noémie Gaines and Kier Gaines. You can find us pretty easily. Let me know if y'all want to do that. That might be corny, but I don't know, I might do it. But we're definitely doing a drive-by baby shower, and then I'll probably do something like really small for like my close girlfriends, like the ones that are in my pod. We might just have like a girls' night, but I really want to celebrate this baby and this pregnancy, but I want to do it in a safe way. So it won't be a big baby shower, not anymore. I don't anticipate COVID letting up in the next couple of months, so I just think this is just the safest option. And what we'll do is, once the world kind of opens up, I'm Catholic, so like baptisms, christenings are like really important to me, so we'll probably do something big for that and have like a really big celebration if it's safe to do so then. So I get this question more often now because I think I've complained about it before, but how are you? I probably should have started with that question, but I'm okay. I've been struggling. It's so hard for me to admit that, because I don't admit struggle, and it's so hard for me to admit like when I feel weak. But man, like these past couple of months, I've really been struggling with you know, being pregnant and being away from family. That's been like the biggest thing, like being away from my mom, being away from my dad. I'm really close to my parents, so I was already struggling with being far, like living far away from them before I even had kids. But you know, like my mom not being able to feel my belly consistently or see how I'm growing, you know what I mean, and my dad not being able to drive over, you know what I mean, has been really like a struggle for me. And you know, reevaluating what family looks like. Like, Kier and I are both only children. Kier lost his mom at a really young age, and we both similarly struggle with what family looks like now. So of course we acknowledge that we're a family, but it just looks so different than the way that we expected it to look when we were younger. You know, I expected my parents to be, you know, in on my day-to-day interaction with my kids, for them to have, you know, a very close-knit relationship with my kids. And while they do with Emery, they do digitally, you know what I mean? Like, it's a digital relationship. It's FaceTime, it's phone calls. But my mom has probably seen Emery twice in the past 2 years. Granted, that's because of COVID, of course. But that's still a really long time, you know, and I've struggled with that. You know, I've struggled with just not being able to just lay down on my mom's shoulder and just like kick it with her, you know, while I'm pregnant. And to just, you know, just to have those moments, I really struggle with that. But I do have an amazing tribe, and I understand that that's a privilege, and that is something that I am so grateful for. My friends have literally become my family. I have like a core group of, I'm not going to say numbers because it just depends on, I have a group, I have a crew. I have like a crew of like 20 plus girls, and it just kind of depends on the time, and especially with COVID, like because of our pod, I've limited to like 4 or 5 girls, mostly who have like kids my age or who like live really close to me. COVID just kind of messed everything up in that way, but I still have like a solid crew of people that I really can depend on, whether it's food, whether it's, you know, just checking in on me, whether it's watching E for a couple hours, you know, or whether it's just keeping me company. You know, I have that group of people who are also struggling with being away from their families. You know, that's definitely something that a lot of us, most of us in my crew deal with. We're transient. We're not from DC. We're not from the DMV area. So our families live, you know, plane rides away. So I think we all connect with that. So it feels good to have people that I can identify, you know, those emotions with. But I'd be lying to say if it didn't hurt me. You know, some days it brings me to tears. But hey, I'm doing the best that I can. And like I said, I'm trying to be more open about what I'm struggling with, because I realize the more I talk about it, the more that other people can relate, and the less that I feel like I'm alone. But that's been my biggest struggle. I just miss my parents. I wish they were close. I wish COVID wasn't an issue so that they can like come by and spend more time with us. But I did see my mom a couple weeks ago when we were in South Carolina, and then I've seen my dad twice. He's had to drive to New York from Atlanta a couple of times, so he'll like make a pit stop and stay here for a couple hours. So it's not like I haven't seen them at all. I want to see them every day, and I can't, and it pisses me off. That's really what it is at the end of the day. But I think we've answered a good enough number of questions, or I talked too much and we only answered like 3, but it took me an hour to get through them. Either way, I'll try to do these more often. If you're interested in these updates, let me know so that I can, you know, plan to do them more. And I'm also thinking about maybe doing these on IG Live instead, so that I can get like some of y'all's live questions. I've done that once before, and it went over really well. I don't know, we'll see how this video goes. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. It's been great to talk to y'all. I realize that I don't really get to sit down and talk unless we're doing a sit down talk, but yeah, this is cute. I like this. Let me know if you like this too. Anyway, you guys, thank you for tuning in to this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. We're way more active on Instagram. And we'll see you next week with a sit down talk with Kier. Bye guys.